I happened to look at Imogene, and I almost dropped my hymn book on the baby angel. Everyone had been waiting all this time for the Herdmans to do something absolutely unexpected. And sure enough, that was what happened. Imogene Herdman was crying. In the candlelight, her face was all shiny with tears. And she didn't even bother to wipe them away. She just sat there. Awful old Imogene in her crookedly veil, crying and crying and crying. Well, it was the best Christmas pageant we ever had. Everybody said so, but nobody seemed to know why. When it was over, people stood around the lobby of the church talking about what was different this year. There was something special, everyone said. They couldn't quite put their finger on it. Mrs. Wimlicken said, well, Mary, the mother of Jesus, had a black eye. That was something special. But only what one might expect, she added. She meant that it was the most natural thing in the world for a herdman to have a black eye. But actually nobody hit Imogene, and she hadn't hit anybody else. Her eye wasn't really black either. Just all puffy and swollen. She had walked into the corner of the choir robe cabinet in a kind of a daze, as if she had just caught on to the idea of God and the wonder of Christmas. And this was the funny thing about it all. For years I thought about the wonder of Christmas and the mystery of Jesus' birth. I never really understood it, but now, because of the herd, it didn't seem quite so mysterious after all. When Imogene had asked me what the pageant was about, I told her it was about Jesus. But that was just part of it. It was about a new baby and his mother and father who were in a lot of trouble. No money, no place to go, no doctor, nobody they knew. And then, arriving from the east, like my uncle from New Jersey, some rich friends came. But Imogene, I guess, didn't see it that way. Christmas just came over her all at once, like a case of chills and fever. And so she was crying and walking into the furniture. Afterwards, there were candy canes and little testaments for everybody, and a poinsettia plant for my mother from the whole Sunday school. We put the costumes away and folded up the collapsible manger, and just before we left, my father shuffled out for the last of all the tall white candles. And I guess that's everything, he said, as we stood at the back of the church. All over now. It was quite a pageant. Then he looked at my mother. What's that you've got? What the hell, she said. They wouldn't take her back. They wouldn't take the candy either, or any of the little Bibles. But Imogene did ask me for a set of Bible story pictures that she took out of the Mary picture and said it was exactly right, whatever that means. I think it meant that no matter how she herself was, Imogene liked the idea of the Mary in the picture, all pink and white and pure looking, as if she never washed the dishes or cooked supper or did anything at all except have Jesus on Christmas Eve. But as far as I'm concerned, Mary's always going to look a lot like Imogene Herdman. Sort of nervous and bewildered, but ready to clobber anyone who laid a hand on her baby. And the wise men are always going to be Leroy and his brothers bearing ham. When we came out of the church that night, it was cold and clear, with crunchy snow underfoot and bright stars overhead, and I thought about the angel of the Lord, Gladys, with her skinny legs and her dirty little sneakers sticking out from under her robe, yelling at all of us everywhere, hey, unto you a child is born.
Oh, that's still the best story. The best Christmas.